everybody, welcome back to Talking Wolves and welcome back to a brand new video today on the channel. We are back from Braga away. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed the content for that. If it's not out already, a matchday vlog will be out very soon. But hopefully you guys are doing well. Be sure, as always, to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. But today we're trying something a little bit different. Of course, with this being a fans channel, I do want to get more of you guys involved, Wolves fans in general. So, with it being close to obviously the end of the decade, the 2010s, a lot of people have been asking the question, what is your team of the decade? Now, I think with the current state Wolves are in, it's pretty easy to pinpoint certain players that would make your best team. So, I put the question to our Twitter page and our followers over there, who would be in your best Wolves 11 from this past decade? However, you cannot select any players from the current lineup. Which makes it a little bit more difficult because obviously we had the later Premier League years before we got relegated. We've got the League One years, the Championship years in there as well. So it's going to be for some interesting reading. So I'm going to be reacting to some of the teams that you guys selected. And of course, anyone in the comment section down below, feel free to name your team in there as well. But before we kick off with the teams, be sure to check out our channel partners over at OneFootball. #1 football app out there at the moment, free to download on Android and iOS for all your football news, live scores, live football, team news, transfer rumours, team lineups, the works. So a link to download that app is down in the bottom of the description down below. So we're moving on to team #1. Well, before you guys ask me what my team is, I'm going to be talking about my team on the next Talking Wolves podcast, which should be out on Monday. The next Talking Wolves podcast in the next couple of days is when I'll be discussing my team. So I'm reacting to your guys' teams first. Maybe this will give me some ideas for my team, who knows. So, #1 comes from Jake. And in goal, he's got for Carl Ikeme. I think this will be a very popular choice. Of course, Carl was a great goalkeeper, did really well for us in the League One season and a couple of years after into the Championship season as well. Fortunately, he had to retire early due to his leukemia, but it looks like he's still in the public eye. He wants to get more involved in football again, which will be great. Hopefully, maybe one day we'll get him on the channel as well to have a quick word. But Ikeme, I think, will be a very popular choice. Really likeable guy and a good goalkeeper too. Right back, Kevin Foley. This was an interesting one, really. I think Kevin Foley probably had his best Wolves days, maybe just before 2010, but he's gone with Foley instead. Quite interesting that he's gone with Foley, maybe ahead of the likes of Sam Ricketts. But we'll look into that a little bit more. Centre-back partnership of Stearman and Craddock. Again, Jody Craddock, I'm not too sure. I think his best Wolves days are way before 2010 as well. But Stearman, I think, will be another popular choice. Left-back Barry Douglas, I think that is a cert. What a player Barry Douglas was for Wolves in that Championship winning season. Of course, it was a surprise to many fans when he was sold in the first summer of our Premier League tenure. But what a left foot, what a wonder. He had the set pieces, the goals, the assists he got. Fantastic player. And a good choice in there. He's gone through a 4-3-3, so a middle three of Jack Price, Nenad Milias and Kevin McDonald. I think McDonald is a great shout, a very underrated player, I think, at Wolves. Very good player. I think in terms of the training side of things, he probably wasn't that liked by managers because I think he was a very lazy player. But when he had the ball in his feet, he could really find a pass. And sometimes hit the back of the net quite nicely as well. I do remember a couple of great goals from Kevin McDonald as well. Nenad Milias, again, another one who I think was lazy, but such a great player, technically fantastic, and that's another great shout. And Jack Price as well, a little bit of a workhorse, almost sort of the opposite to those two players, who've worked really hard, and that's a really solid middle three that Jake's picked there. Front three as well, Kightly, Ebanks, Blake, and Jarvis. Again, I think possibly their prime Wolves days, or possibly a couple of years before 2010, but I still do not envy those at all. That front three is very good, and that Championship winning season just before, what was it, 2009, those three were fantastic. Sylvain Ebanks Blake, arguably one of the current generation's favourite strikers before we brought in the likes of Raul Jimenez and so on. So, great choices there from Jake. We'll move on to team #2. This is from Nickel Rebel. I think he's a slightly younger fan, which I don't mind at all. So, Carl Ikeme goal. Again, as we said, this is going to be a popular choice. Interesting choice of back four. He's gone with pretty much the League One winning defence with Scott Goldborn at left back, which is quite a nice shout. I thought Goldborn at that level was a really great player, good likeable character as well. He had that little high top with that weird streak in it as well, didn't he? Danny Barton, Richard Stearman, fantastic with Sam Ricketts. What a player he was. Obviously managing now in League One himself. But I think he came into Wolves, obviously got the captaincy straight away from Kenny Jackie, which was quite a bold move, but such a great player. And I'll always remember his goal against Rotherham in that 6-4 win. What a finish that was. If you don't remember that game, or wasn't able to go, or you're a new fan of Wolves, type it in, Wolves 6, Rotherham 4, and look out for that Sam Ricketts goal. Absolute beauty. Midfield 4 as well. He's more or less gone. Other than one player in this team, he's more or less gone with that League One winning team. So Bakary Sakho, what a player Sakho was. So the first shout of Sakho, and I'm sure it's going to be the first of many. Bakary Sakho, arguably one of Wolves' better or best players in the past 10 years before we moved up into the Fosun era. Great player on his day, was sublime, and he was one of those players, he used to frustrate me a lot as a fan. I was not a fan of him in that championship season the first year. But you know what? He was one of those players that could do nothing for 85 minutes, but as soon as he got the ball, he could create something out of nothing, and that is a great shout. Kevin McDonald, Dave Edwards, having his first shout, a lot of fans. Dave Edwards was a really Marmite player as well, wasn't he? A workhorse, dangerous Dave. He really liked it, and he worked hard for the team, but I think a lot of people sometimes felt his technical ability was a little bit meh. James Henry, the first shout for him, great player. The White Pele in League One, what a player he was. Some great goals, some great assists as well, and some good memories with James Henry. And a front two with the first shouts of Benik Afobe and Nuwa Dicko. Now, Benik Afobe for me was the first proper striker that we had since Sylvain Ebanks-Blake left, and he was a breath of fresh air when he came to the club. Obviously was he on loan first, and then we signed him, or we did sign him permanently. I can't remember the way round we did it. But Benik Afobe, great player, and Nuwa Dicko as well. Those three, Sakho, Afobe, Dicko, who's pinpointed there. What a combination that was. Absolutely lethal. And on its day, we could have beaten any team in that second tier. Tom Jones, he's gone with Carl Hakimi in goal. A back four of Stephen Ward, quite interestingly. Danny Bart, Stearman and Foley. Now, Stephen Ward, of course, signed to Wolves as a striker. Mick McCarthy, Mad Mick, converted into a left-back. Still had the old game at striker, to be fair. But yeah, really decent player for Wolves on his day. Obviously was shunned out in the end as part of the Wolves overhaul. But good shout there. And another person going for Stearman and Bart as a centre-back duo, and Kevin Foley in there as well. Foley, again, what a player he was. I think the year we came up, he won Player of the Season, or the first year in the Premier League. Great right-back. Middle four, he hasn't quite decided on Carl Henry or Kevin McDonald there. Carl Henry, again, quite a rare shout with Dave Edwards. Sakho and Jarvis, I think, is going to be two very popular winger picks. Jarvis, how good was he? And I believe he's the last Wolves player to get an England call-up as well. Hopefully, Connor Cody, are we going to get one of those anytime soon? And Ebanks-Blake and Kevin Doyle up there as well. We move on to Tony Wild. Carl Hakimi goal. I think that's almost a full house for Carl Hakimi so far. The back four is the League One winning back four. However, with a little pinch of Barry Douglas in there. So Sam Ricketts, Danny Barton, Stearman in there again with Barry Douglas. He's gone with Matt Jarvis, Dave Edwards, McDonald and Sakho in there. And Dicko and Afobe. A very standard, well not standard, but it's Tony's team, and it's very, very hard to argue with that triple combo again of Dicko, Afobe, Sakho, then magic, you know. We move to Matthew Hakimi again, of course, Kevin Foley. This is a massive shout by Matthew, but I rate it a lot. A very niche shout of Mike Williamson at centre-back with Steers and Goulbourne. Now, I've got to say, I wouldn't have thought of Mike Williamson, but I actually think that's a decent shout. He's gone with Mike Williamson ahead of Danny Bart. Mate, when he was fit, because he had a lot of injury issues at Wolves, when he was fit, I actually thought Mike Williamson was a decent player. So I rate that choice from Matthew, to be fair. Obviously, signed him in from Newcastle. I think he came at a time where Wolves weren't really going anywhere. It was that sort of Kenny Jackett mid-table season. I think it was his last campaign in charge of Wolves. And I actually thought Mike Williamson was good. It came to a point where I was waiting for him to come back from injury to bolster our defence options. He's gone with Steers and Goulbourne as well. Decent back four. Kevin McDonald. Is that Dave Jones, I'd assume, in the middle as well? Decent shout. Great play with the old set pieces. Loved the goal as well for Wolves. Bakary Sakho in there. Cavallero, of course, figured outside the box a little bit. Still at Wolves, but technically, you know, out on loan, so I don't mind that at all. Cavallero, Jarvis and Ebanks-Blake. That would be a threatening front three as well, with all of those in their prime Wolves days. Not a bad team at all. Andy Ching's just given me a load of names. He's even picked subs. I rate that a lot. So Andy Ching's gone with Hakimi in goal. Barry Douglas, Ronald Zubar, the first shout for Zubs, of course, in the end was sold out after our first season in the Championship. Now, believe it or not, I saw someone do their worst 11, and Ronald Zubar was in their worst 11, and I think we've probably had worse right-backs and worse players in general than Ronald Zubar in the last 10 years or so. Richard Stearman in there, Michael Mancian, big shout for him. Not sure, I think we may have just had him creeping into the early 2010-11 season. Michael Mancian in there. Sacco or Milias, Guardiola as well, really likeable guy. Adnan Guardiola, loved the screamer. Helder Costa, Dicko, and Ebanks Blake. Now he's gone with a subbench of Lee Griffiths, who of course in the League One was prolific until he moved to Celtic. Afobe, Cavallero, Danny Bart, Dave Edwards, George Elokobi, and Marcus Hanneman as well. I'm going to stick with that thought of Hanneman because I'm pretty sure someone had picked him. Yes, Aaron Haywood, he went for Marcus Hanneman in goal. I always remember that one when I think the linesman was having a mare and Hanneman just dashed the ball at the line out. But yeah, Marcus Hanneman in goal. Crazy guy. But to be fair, not a bad goalkeeper. Back four of Kevin Foley. Again, gone with the shout of Craddock, Stearman and Barry Douglas. And the rest of the team sort of writes itself. Sacco, Kevin McDonald, Milias, Jarvis, Ebanks Blake, and Afobe. Daniel Dober's gone with Akimi, Douglas, Bart, Stearman, Ricketts. Helder Costa again, and don't mind that. He's gone with the middle two, Dave Edwards on Jack Price, Sacco, Dicko, Afobe. I'm going to try and find someone that's maybe gone for something a little bit different. A couple of people going for the team, and then we're going to go with Dan, 587 to finish us off. Wayne Hennessy in goal, one of a few shouts for Wayne Hennessy. Kevin Foley at the back with Richard Stearman, Jody Craddock and Barry Douglas. A middle four of Cavallero, Edwards, McDonald and Sacco, and Ebanks Blake and Afobe. Hennessy, for me, he's probably the shout I'd go with, possibly up to maybe with Carl Akimi, just purely because Hennessy, it ended quite negatively, didn't it? But a lot of those shouts in there I really rate, and I really thank you guys. If you guys enjoyed this type of video where I speak to the fans and get their thoughts on certain things and me discuss it, let me know down below in the comment section. And of course, let me know your team of the decade as well. I'm trying my best to reply to all of you guys. But be sure to hit the like button down below, subscribe to the channel if you do, guys. Just something a little bit different for you. And until next time, I'll see you all very, very soon.